On the last day of 1986, the plush DuPont Plaza Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico was booked to capacity with American tourists. Hundreds of people were packed into the casino on the second floor when tragedy struck. Most of the footage you'll see was taped as a desperate fight for life began.
Because it was New Year's Eve, the casino was closing early. And so I said I was going to go in with some of my friends and play for a while.
John Benevento and his family had come to San Juan to spend Christmas vacation sunning and gambling.
My friend Pat Massaro was on a losing streak, and so we walked out. And as we walked out, a black wall of smoke and flame shot across the staircase, making it impossible to go down that staircase. We backed into the casino.
John was trapped. His wife, Joan, unaware of the fire, had just let their 2 young children go back up to their hotel room.
I was on the beach faced away from the hotel, and I smelled something very odd. And by the time I got up off the chair and turned around, I couldn't see the first 2 floors of the hotel. There was thick, black smoke, so thick that you just couldn't see the hotel at all. I ran across the beach yelling, "The kids are inside, the kids are in there." And there was nothing I could do. I stood there literally thinking, I'm going to stand here and my children are going to die.
Around 3:40 p.m., the calls for help began to come in. A fire had exploded across the lower floors of the DuPont Plaza, blocking all exits. Hundreds of guests and workers were trapped, including more than 300 in the crowded casino.
In a short period of time, the casino turned into a mob scene. Chaos, people on fire, screaming. Blackjack table stools were starting to fly through the windows. People were tossing them out the windows, see if they could break them. Bodies, people were starting to fling themselves through the windows. So that's when I decided to go out the window. When I landed on the cement, the fire just roared, and when I looked up, everybody was on fire.
14 fire trucks, more than 100 firefighters, and 35 ambulances responded to the scene.
The front side of the entrance of this hotel was so big, which prevented our ladder truck to reach no higher than the first or second story. That limited us very greatly.
When Puerto Rico's interagency disaster coordinator, Ephraim Amott, arrived on the scene, the fire was burning out of control.
The heavy smoke that was coming out of the hotel was a nauseous and toxic smoke. So toxic that people can die with just by having 2 or 3 respiration.
Flames all the way up the wall, up to the 6th or 7th floor.
There was a lot of people still in the building, yelling for help.
Linda and Michael Wolf had left their 2 teenage daughters by the hotel pool just before the fire broke out.
We were in a store, and I started smelling smoke.
We couldn't understand what it was. We didn't know what it was. And somebody yelled that it was the hotel on fire. We ran as fast as our feet would carry us back to the hotel. And at that point, it looked like a war going on. We saw people laying down by the pool, bloody and screaming and crying. And then we looked up and we saw the people at the hotel windows trying to get out. Our minds were on our daughters, and I was praying that for once they didn't listen to me because I had just told them to go upstairs. And that's where we saw an acquaintance of ours. And he told us, oh, yes, he had just seen the girls walking upstairs to the room.
Inside the hotel, people were beginning to panic. The dense smoke funneled up the stairwells and elevator shafts, driving people out to the balconies and up to the roof, including fitness instructors Nick Busey and his wife Bonnie, then 6 months pregnant.
When we got up to the penthouse, we were just hoping to find a way out, to get fresh air. There was a lot of smoke coming up different sides of the building, and what people were trying to do was just hover to one side to the other side as the smoke came up.
While on routine patrol, police helicopter pilot Julio Colon spotted the smoke rising from the hotel.
I saw people coming out to the roof. By that time, I was thinking those people didn't burn in there, and I I don't believe I can do anything.
The roof was not built for helicopters. There was not even enough space between the elevator shaft and the edge of the roof for a safe landing.
I started thinking I had to do something. I have to do something, and it has to be now. I was the one who can help them, so I had to try hard, and I did it. I made the landing.
With only a few feet to spare between the blades and the wall, Julio landed precisely on the extreme corner of the roof. Bonnie Busey was among the first 6 women and children taken in this small, overloaded chopper. But with people streaming up to the penthouse at an alarming rate, it would take all night to get them down, and they might not have that much time.
I started calling for help.
Private charter pilot Pat Walters heard the call. He, too, began airlifting people off the roof.
You have smoke coming up, possible visibility being obscured. You have heat thermals coming up, possibly making it a very shaky approach. If you crash, you're going to crash down on the people that are around the fire. You're not going to get far enough away. You're going to go straight down like a rock.
I expected Nick to be right behind me in the next helicopter. 2 or 3 helicopters came in. There was, my husband wasn't there. So I was getting a little bit worried.
Police officer Oscar Araya volunteered to be dropped on the roof to help organize the rescue. There he found Nick Busey.
I saw a guy pulling people from the balcony to the top of the roof and said to him, I need you to help because I was alone and we have too many people up there. He answered right away, okay, no problem, I stay with you. And he gone back and stay pulling people from the balcony to the top of the roof.
It was like God have somebody out in there to help us in the rescue, and that was Nick.
They wouldn't let you go anywhere near the front of the DuPont. There were hundreds of people just lined up, watching the fire, watching what was going on.
I was just beside myself how I can go on without my daughters, not knowing whether they were alive or dead.
When we continue,